I realized this film came out last year, but guess what? It just dropped on HBO Max. So yeah, it's on my list. Yeah, that's kind of how my system works. In the most accessible way that it is to everybody. So thanks to HBO Max, you get this. I'm Mac from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and this is a review of Old. I should do this whole review in an old man's voice. No, I'm going to progressively get older as my review moves on in honor of Old. Let's see how this works out. I'm a blind film critic. So this was a fun movie because I can't see anybody age. But yeah. So we're going to talk about audio description, but first we got to talk about the movie. This is an M. Night Shyamalan movie. I already feel old because I think about the first M. Night Shyamalan movie, which, by the way, is not The Sixth Sense. So if anybody's seen a little film called Wide Awake, it will show you what M. Night Shyamalan can do when he's not trying to direct inside the genre or direct something like The Last Airbender, which was god-awful. And now we're on Old. So yes, I do feel old on night. Thanks. This film has sort of an ensemble cast. I don't want to spoil it, so it's really hard to talk about the film. I will tell you that this film, in general, there are people, they go to a resort, they get sort of chosen, like they win prizes to go to this resort. And they end up on this beach, and then they can't leave this beach. And while they're on this beach, they start getting old. They start aging rapidly. And various things happen, and plot points are revealed. The characters have different interactions. If you've read a summary for the film, it will literally make you feel like there's one family on this island. That's not the case. I don't care if that's a spoiler or not. That's not what the film is. It's not a mother, father, and two kids on an island, on an island beach. That's not what this is. There are multiple cast members in this film, and that's where we have to talk about this, because I stopped taking this movie seriously. And I don't think I've ever stopped taking a Shyamalan movie seriously just because of one thing that he's chosen to do. But the minute that we were introduced to a rapper named Midsize Sedan, I was like, nope, I can't do this film anymore. I'm sorry, I just can't. And I, like, the whole film, I was just like, what is this? And I seriously, like, I couldn't take it seriously as a film. I just kept thinking that I was like, this is a comedy, right? This is him. He's making fun of horror movies. Like, nobody would put a character named Midsize Sedan in the film unless they were trying to make a point about something. Like, that's the kind of thing that you get in, like, Scary Movie. You know, like, that's the kind of thing that the Wayans brothers will throw in a film. They'll be like, yo, we got this rapper. He's coming to the stage. Everybody give it up for Midsize Sedan. Not like a legitimate character in an actual movie. Like, nobody's actually named Midsize Sedan. I know we've got some rappers and some hip hop artists with some batshit names, but, you know, you don't, there's nobody named, you know, there's nobody named like a minivan or something, you know, like, I just, it's just a compact car. I'm the rapper Compact Car. I fit into small spots. Like, so stupid. Yeah, so I couldn't. I literally, like, my brain just checked out. I was just gone. I was like, because the funny thing for us, and this is the thing that, like, I know Shyamalan wasn't thinking about, is every fucking time he's on screen, you are reminded of his name. Because in the audio description, his name is Midsize Sedan. So it's always Midsize Sedan gets up and walks over. Midsize Sedan finds this. Midsize Sedan goes over here. Midsize Sedan talks to, and it is seriously the most hilarious thing. I know it's unintentional, but for blind people, this movie is a comedy because of this dude. Because you keep thinking about how mid-sized sedan is going. You're like, okay, so there's a giant car on the beach and it can talk and it's walking around, and it is the dumbest name, and it really just kind of changed the entire movie for me. I'm sorry, like if I could tell M. Night Shyamalan that, I would be like, yo, you, like, I know that like 98% of your audience experienced this, but like for those of us who had to sit and listen to audio description while watching Old, we had a completely different experience. I promise you that. There was nobody who was legitimately sitting there listening to this audio description with mid-sized sedan and who was terrified of this movie. There's nobody who took this seriously as a scary. It's impossible to be scared by a movie where mid-sized sedan is constantly getting up around and moving and doing things. So it's like you just can't. It's too much. It's too far. You've gone too far. So I don't know. I don't know what Old is. I have no idea how to grade Old, because I know it's supposed to be like a scary horror movie, but the reality is that it didn't scare me at all, and I wasn't horrified. We can't see the aging. I know that obviously I was so intrigued because some actors only play their one role as they age, and like Gael Garcia Bernal was doing such a great job. His performance in this is like amazing, like his voice dropping, and like he legitimately sounded older, and I'm so interested in how they did that. You know, he like really just, I mean, like his aging process was just fantastic. But like with the kids, they just cast new kids. They just aged up those characters. So like every once in a while, you just like suddenly the kids are older and they're just played by new cast members with new voices, and then you have to learn who they are again. Which is not fun for blind audiences when we start sort of matching a character to a voice, and then suddenly suddenly the character is 5 years older and it's played by a completely different character. So that happens a couple times, more than a couple times in the film. I guess that's kind of a spoiler, but not really, because they're trapped on an island where they keep aging up, and you can't really cast like they start out as 6, so you can't cast a 6-year-old actor and expect them to like do the entire age range, you know, like have the maturity level to play above a certain age. Like at a certain point, they're going to stop being believable in whatever role. It's going to start becoming comedy. But then again, I would argue that they already have mid-sized sedans, so why not let a 6-year-old play a 30-year-old or whatever? At that point, you know, you've already thrown it out the window. You might as well just keep going. So yeah, I think I missed out on all of the little details, and it's really hard to say that it was because of the audio description, you know, because how do you, yeah, I mean, the audio description tells us, and it tells us when people are aging and they're like, the person is now older, but like, what do? You throw in like, and is now played by, you really have to just start like saying, oh, it's a completely different actor. And, you know, it's hard to acknowledge within a film. It's that's something that you just find out through the credits at the end or using IMDb. Yeah, it does kind of change and jar, and you're sort of wondering, you're like, wow, his voice completely changed. And you're like, oh, it's a completely different actor. So following it that way, even though the description gives you all of those notes and beats, this film is just really hard to enjoy for us because you can't see the aging process. This is probably the first film in a long time where I've really just been like, I don't know if this film is for blind people. I mean, I feel like we got a totally different experience out of it. And I don't know how to change it, you know, because the film is not a horror movie. It's really not that scary. The only thing that's scary about it is facing your own mortality and being on an island that you can't get off of, and you just keep aging, and you just keep watching these characters age, and they can't figure out a way to get off this beach. I mean, that's really the only, you know, so obviously like death is impending for all of them because at some point they're all going to age out and they're just going to drop dead. So it's just sort of like waiting for people to age out and die. But there isn't really, you know, there aren't any like monsters or anything in this. There aren't any jump scares. There's nothing crazy that happens here. It's just a lot of that. So I don't really I don't really know what to tell you. I mean, I don't even know how you would necessarily describe it. I guess it falls because it can't be a horror film. I mean, there's a couple of scenes with some like gory, disturbing images, but this film did only get a PG-13 rating to give you an idea of just how ungory it is. Um, there are a couple times where you're like, ugh, I'm sure that looked gnarly, but otherwise, it doesn't seem like it's that gross to be considered to be a gory horror film. Um, and I don't think it really matches the genre. So I think it's just kind of a suspense. So take that what you will, and remember that this film is about people aging over the course of the length of the movie, which is about an hour and 40 minutes. And even though the audio description will let you know, Roy Samuelson does a great job here with the audio description. Even though you do know, and it does mention, and it's like with the wrinkles, and Shyamalan does a good job of trying to let you know when people are when things are happening to them, and he points out specific things about their aging process, to let you know how they're sort of moving along. Even though all of those things happen, there's still something very missed in this aging process, especially with the changing of the actors. I think maybe I would try to listen to this film with audio description that actually lists the actors. I've heard audio description before. It's super rare where it actually pairs an actor to a character. I've heard it before. I know it exists. I know it's been done. And I think maybe that would have been a great way to go here, because it would have been unsuspecting. If you had done it for all characters, then we would have been introduced to those characters and the actors, and we would know. And then we would have been introduced to the children with their original child actors. And people who didn't know anything about anything, I guess I've spoiled a little bit of it, wouldn't know how many times those kids were about to be replaced, or if they were ever going to be replaced, or how far this movie was going to go. So you would just know, and it would hit you, and it would be like, this character now at this age played by blah, blah, blah. It just would move on. And maybe that would help. It's just, wow. It's a tough one. I don't know that I have the answer to this film, but it would not be my first choice. If I was in a blind group and somebody was like, "Ooh, I need a movie recommendation," I don't know that I would recommend this. And it's not because it's a bad film. I mean, it's hilarious because of so many other reasons, but I don't think it's like a terrible film. It's not that I'm not recommending it because of that. But also, yeah, kind of, because it is also unintentionally hilarious for us blind individuals who listen to the audio description to constantly hear that mid-sized sedan is doing something. So maybe it is a great experience. I don't know. You will have your own experience with Old, and then please let me know in the comments, because I would really love to know what your experience with Old is. I think it's like a magic trick, and I don't know that this magic trick is something that's made for us, and not everything is made for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a film was made in another language and they didn't translate it and dub it, then I can't watch it. Like, I don't speak that language. So this film is about the aging process, and if I had to give acting props, I really would just give it to Gael Garcia Bernal. I love Vicky Krebs, but I didn't really get the aging process from her. I got it from Gael. I thought he was amazing. Yeah, I didn't think the other actors did a great job of necessarily translating their performance the same way Gael does. So that's where I'm at with this. And then I have to factor in the mid-sized sedan hilariosity, and I don't know where to grade this. I don't know. This film didn't really work for me, but also was unintentionally hilarious for so many reasons, but I couldn't quite capture the aging process. However, I thought it had some good twists. There's some interesting stuff that happens in this film, some nice twists. I didn't hate the ending. So, I mean, Shyamalan's always known for his twist endings. So I didn't hate it. Uh, I'm gonna give Old a C plus. It's a soft recommend for me. Just above average. I consider C to be average. So just as a reminder, it's a little above average. But man, it's hampered by the fact that I really could not. I don't know if Midsize Sedan was a different name. I'd love to see that movie too. I'd love to see a film where Midsize Sedan just has a more normal name, so where I can take his character seriously, because I was laughing too much every time his character did something. It was always hilarious to hear like Midsize Sedan is going over. I couldn't, and it, and I know it's just sort of like childish, immature humor to continue to laugh at that joke, but it's hilarious. It's the most ridiculous name, and he chose it. Shyamalan chose it. There isn't, that dude's name in real life is not Midsize Sedan. This is not a biography based on the life and times of rapper Midsize Sedan. So it's his fault. He chose the name, and it feels like the kind of name that you would see in a scary movie franchise. It doesn't feel like a name you would see in an actual film, like a real serious, like take me seriously, we need to scare you film. So that's what I got. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really, really curious, really interested. I hope I like never get comments, but I would really love to know, especially from blind and visually impaired individuals that have seen Old. What did you think? Like, did you, do you feel like you got everything? Did you find Midsize Sedan to be unintentionally hilarious? I think this is just something that we experienced totally differently than visual audiences. And, yeah, I think that's interesting to me, because normally I think the audio description provides us, the great audio description just gives us the same experience. I mean, we don't get to see the actual visual effects or the CGI or whatever, but we get the same thing. Like, I've talked to people about films, and I can talk to people who see about films that they've seen visually, that I listen to audio description, and we have the same conversation. But this, I feel like I just had a completely different experience with, and I don't really know what to do about that. So, Old, watch it, because it might be interesting. I don't know. But, I don't know how I feel about it. We'll see. You can check out more reviews from me at macthemovieguy.com. Please like and subscribe, and go to the audio description project for more titles that have audio description and where to watch them and how to watch them. But until next time, I forgot to get older, so I'm just going to get old now, right before the video ends. Nobody watches my long videos all the way to the end anyway, so this is completely lost. I know.